I'm Natasha Hussein, and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Gaza was hit by its longest sustained telecommunications blackout on record this week after Israeli attacks damaged critical telco infrastructure. The comms blackout began on Friday, but Gazans had been able to get online thanks to eSIMs. It's through social media updates like what you see on your screen coming up now that we know that Israel has intensified its bombardment through carpet bombing. It's also targeting the last fully functional hospital in Gaza. Filmmaker Bisan Uda was sheltering in the hospital when Israel ramped up its airstrikes.
The carpet bombing before this moment was just unbelievable. The bombings are really loud and are so close to us. The situation is complicated. I'm trying to find any internet connection to tell you what is happening. But Nasser Medical Complex is now near to be invaded. It's the last functioning hospital. I'm trying to find any internet connection so I can tell you what is happening. The carpet bombing, the ambulances could not even reach the entries, or the people were killed and injured because of the carpet bombing. They are besieged. We are besieged. I don't know if I can survive this or go anywhere. I'm just alone. Alone as thousands. Alone as many in other hospitals were before. In the Shifa hospital and the Indonesian hospital in Kamal Adwan. It's a war against hospitals, against children, against women, against people with disabilities and injuries. People are just dying.
We can't take any more. People are so exhausted, so tired, suffering a lot. Journalists are so tired. Everyone is scared. Everyone is worried about his life, about his family life. We are all losers. We lost a lot. We lost our homes, our friends, our families, our life, our work, our future. Even the past, our past, we lost it. We lost the people we lived with. So, as you can see there, different camera here. It's all about destruction.
Our Gaza correspondent Nizar sent us this report on how already bleak conditions there continue to deteriorate.
Gaza is currently facing its 9th and most prolonged telecommunication outage, significantly disrupting medical, civil defense and journalistic activities. This extensive telecommunication blackout, the longest recorded in Gaza, has greatly affected daily life and obscured the international community's view of the situation. Journalists here, often restricted to specific areas, are relying on eSIMs and backup lines from Israeli companies to upload videos. Even on social media, the same thing is happening for influencers. This is, of course, an approach that diverges from our usual operational freedom. The blackout resulting from Israeli military actions has created a critical gap in information for journalists. In the past 5 days, attempts to repair lines in Khan Yunis have been met with violence, including an attack that once killed 2 engineers, further delaying repairs and exacerbating our isolation. There's a growing concern among Palestinians that these incidents indicate a possible deliberate policy. Journalists are still making efforts to stay connected using these alternative sources. However, this makeshift approach is unsustainable in an environment where stability is increasingly elusive. Palestinians, of course, including journalists, continue to look for a sense of normalcy, but nothing here is normal.
The internet and phone services blackout started on Friday, just hours after Israel defended itself at the International Court of Justice against genocide accusations. The 84-page filing brought by South Africa at the ICJ accuses Israel of using communications blackouts to hamper scrutiny. It's a deliberate tactic by Israel to hide its atrocities from the outside world.
Astonishingly, the international community continues to fail the Palestinian people, despite the overt, dehumanizing, genocidal rhetoric by Israeli governmental and military officials, matched by the Israeli army's actions on the ground. Despite the horror of the genocide against the Palestinian people, being live streamed from Gaza to our mobile phones, computers and television screens. The first genocide in history where its victims are broadcasting their own destruction in real time in the desperate, so far vain hope that the world might do something.
The world is watching as a groundbreaking case accusing Israel of genocidal acts in Gaza unfolds at the ICJ. But a peculiar take on the suit has emerged on social media. In the court of public opinion, Israelis seem to be unintentionally working against their own case. And as Lara explains, it has a lot to do with their education system.
The overt, dehumanizing, genocidal rhetoric by Israeli governmental and military officials.
Amidst serious allegations, a disturbing reality persists.
Israelis making fun of airstrikes.
Israelis have been conditioned to dehumanize Palestinians, and it all starts in their education system. Israeli textbooks depict Palestinians as caricatures, primitive farmers, hordes of refugees, or terrorists.
You cannot find one photograph of a human being who is a Palestinian. And the only way they are represented are as the problems and threats, since they never or hardly ever meet Palestinians face to face or speak to them. Although they may live 50 to 100 meters from them, this is what they know.
The result?
You said you think they should be bombed?
Yeah.
Kids being in Gaza, is that okay?
Yeah, we need to kill Arabs.
We your babies here.
Google a map of Israel in Hebrew, and you'll likely see a distorted reality. No clear marking of the occupied territories. This skewed narrative, also present in Israeli textbooks, fuels illegal settlers claiming divine rights over Palestinian land.
It's all it. What you see? It's belong to Israel.
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is gonna steal it.
No! You have this necklace?
That's Palestine, yeah.
This is Israel.
This is Palestine.
Israel.
הארץ שלנו. כל הארץ. כולה. כולל עזה. כולל הלבנון.
Israelis learn about the Holocaust from nursery school to the 12th grade. A part of that learning is looking at horrifying images or exercises that encourage students to identify themselves with the victims. It is an intentional policy by the Israeli Ministry of Education.
The goal is traumatization and revenge, and not to let the fire of vengeance die out. However, this vengeance is not directed towards the German persecutors and their collaborators in Europe, but towards Palestinian colonized subjects who are Nazified.
By weaponizing the Holocaust, the Zionism movement becomes a supposed savior, justifying any violence to prevent a similar event.
It is a nation built on a house of cards. Israelis, and by extension all Zionists, live with this existential threat that the constructed state will be obliterated at any given moment.
Israel's education system, a 12-year journey, breeds fear of state destruction, endorsing the military's actions without question.
Just enough of the fear implanted in you that you wholeheartedly support the Israeli Defense Forces.
Graduates, many heading to mandatory military service, become the frontline enforcers of apartheid and occupation. Why all this? Well, Israel clings to its identity as a Jewish state, and it does so by displacing, imprisoning, and murdering Palestinians routinely to manage demographics. And the only way to get its people to participate is by convincing them that it is the only way for them to exist safely.
In class, we were shown a Zionist propaganda film detailing Israel's exceptionality. The overall message of the film was, this is our state. We must protect it. Israel is worth fighting for. I'm safer as a Jewish person in Israel, and Israel is going to protect me against diaspora anti-Semitism.
In Israel's warped reality, seeing Palestinians as people seeking peace and freedom doesn't align.
But globally, Tel Aviv seems to be losing the war of public opinion. Since the assault started in October, Israel has gone to extraordinary lengths to defend its actions. As Israel stands trial for genocide, it's now paying to skew propaganda in its favor.
When people Googled ICJ hearing, the first thing that appeared was a Google ad sponsored by the Israeli government advertising agency accusing South Africa of malicious blood libel. Another ad by the same agency also popped up at the top of my results page. I clicked the link and a video started playing automatically stating the following.
You be the judge. Israel is doing everything in its power to prevent harm to innocent civilians in Gaza and is acting according to international humanitarian law. Israel has been notifying all Gazans to evacuate to southern Gaza to a safe place with 70,000 phone calls, 14 million voice messages, and 7 million leaflets outlining evacuation plans. Hamas is violently denying its people passage by blocking roads and shooting at them.
The website also has links to independent digital resources which have unverified claims on the 7 October Hamas-led attack on Israel, including that babies were beheaded. Internet users are used to clicking on the first few links on a results page. So the question is, how has Google approved an ad that is filled with unverified claims and worse, false information?
Google has not responded to the allegations. If you look at Google's ad-sensitive event policy, there are guidelines on Russia and Ukraine. It states that due to the war in Ukraine, the search engine suspended ads related to Russia. However, there's no reference to the current Israel-Hamas conflict. Staying in the tech space, 2024 is the year that artificial intelligence is expected to make even greater strides. While it's predicted to transform the global economy for the better, AI could negatively impact the global workforce. As political leaders and business leaders meet at the World Economic Forum in Davos, IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva says it's time for countries to develop social safety nets for vulnerable workers, protect livelihoods, and curb inequality. Melinda has the latest from Davos.
Davos is effectively a big business meeting. For 1 week of the year, the heavy hitters from the corporate world all converge on this small alpine resort and talk economy and corporate growth. And one sector that is really attracting attention this year is artificial intelligence. Now, a report from the International Monetary Fund suggests that 40% of jobs are going to be affected by AI. And in most cases, the IMF says it's going to worsen inequality. And that's because in more wealthy, developed countries, it will be used, it's predicted, to increase productivity. And that means more corporate earnings. Whereas in lower developing countries, it could be used to replace humans. And that means fewer jobs and lower wages. Even here amongst the snow in Davos, it's a chilling prediction.
From cutting-edge AI concerns to contemporary culture. Now, you may or may not get this reference, but on Wednesdays, we wear pink, or some iteration of it, or any day really. That's right, Mean Girls is back and trying to make fetch happen. 20 years after the release of the original film starring Lindsay Lohan, a musical adaptation has surged to the top of the box office.
Get in, loser. Welcome, Katie. You're never gonna believe what I found this morning. Your burn book. Mom, go make snacks.
The reviews, though, have been mixed. Some called it pretty darn fantastic, and others a mess, with jokes past their sell-by date. In the original movie, gossip is spread the old-fashioned way by actually speaking to people or on phone calls. Fast forward 2 decades on, the backstabbing and viciousness all happen in the digital space through TikToks and texts. It's a testament of the life and times of Gen Zs nowadays in high school. I think I'm going to watch that movie over the weekend. And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.